So the builders have been only putting in one light switch for the living room light for smaller house. It is getting a little bit annoying because most people would expect another three-way switch right beside the front door. So we're gonna take a look at the wiring here and see if it's possible to wire another three-way switch so that we have two light switch controlling the same living room light. We're putting everything on paper just so that it's a lot easier to understand. And we have a real light switch here. We have a fake light fixture, and that's a wire in, that's a wire out. So basically, the black line here, that's a power wire, that's a hot wire, people call it. And power comes in here. It's just so you know, AC is not really directional anyways, but we're thinking of the sequence of installing all these components. So I put arrows in just so that it's a lot easier to understand. Now, black wire power in through the light switch and power out to the light fixture. The light fixture does not require any neutral, which is why neutral into the box, not connected, and just connected through wire connectors to the light switch. To the light fixture, because the light fixture will require a neutral for sure. Now, grounding. Grounding is optional on light switches, but I always connect it, so we have grounding. This is actually a part of that 14.2. So grounding, and you're going to need a wire nut and connect grounding to the light fixture, because 99% time the light fixture will require grounding as well. And then, of course, you need to ground the electrical box to the set screw. And there's another electrical box there you need to ground as well. Now that's your current setup. Moving on, this is your new setup. So a two-way switch is either on or off. To adding a new switch to have two switches controlling one same light fixture, you will need to use three-way switches. Now these are three-way switches. So you will replace the existing two-way switch with a new three-way switch, as well as you will adding another brand new three-way switch. Now to wire this is pretty straightforward, and the golden screws are used for traveler wires, and in this way these two traveler wires is part of the 14.2. As long as the color match, it doesn't matter which screw you use to connect. Now the black screws are used for powering. Now, meaning one of the three-way switch will have power in, and the other one will have power out to the light fixture. Now, which one is it? It's pretty straightforward, because the existing wire is powered from this one to the light switch, and we're not going to rip that wire out. We're going to keep that wire in the drywall, which means after we replace that with this one will have to power the light fixture, meaning that one will take in the power to the black screw. Now this is pretty straightforward now. Now the easiest way is for the new switch, you're gonna add it beside another one of the existing switches around your door entry, if there's any. In that way, you will get power directly from that electrical box, and you just basically swap this, take this out, right? Put this one in. Let's come take a look, and you still have the traveler wires, meaning this is not needed anymore. We're going to cap this. Because all we need is this one to the light fixture, and these two are supplied with the traveler wires, the new wires. Now there is a possibility that you actually, at the location where you want to put in the new switch, there's nothing. There's no existing switch. There's nothing you can get that power from. In that case, instead of this 14.2 as traveler wire, you will use a 14.3 because that extra power wire will be used as supplying power from here to here. In this way, you'll get power to the new switch if it doesn't have any box around it, or if you just want to keep the original circuit and not pull it from other ones. So let's take a look at the wiring here. This looks very typical to me. It's power to the light switch first, and then from the light switch it powers up the light fixture. So let's take a look at the wiring here. This looks very typical to me. It's power to the light switch first, and then from the light switch it powers up the light fixture. I say that because you can see all these neutrals, all the white neutral wires are connected with wire nut, and then we have, the hot black wire in, and then we have red wire, which is also a hot wire, to the light fixture. The red wire here tells me there's a 14.3 gauge wire being used here. So let's go take a look, trace the wire. It is on the left side feeding upwards. Now, because we already know the blacks are power in, the red is power out to the light fixture, so we know that 14.3 is feeding to our light fixture. And take a look at these two black wires. We know one black wire goes to the 14.3, the other black wire is the power into the light switch. So we can basically ignore the 14.3. It's basically doesn't impact anything that we're gonna do with installing three-way switches. So as you can see, I have two existing light switches here at the front door, where I intend to add in one extra light switch for the additional living room light control. One thing that I found surprisingly is, if you take a look back here, that is, see, one wire stripped off the insulation and then plugged in here, which is not even tightened on the screw. See, the screw is not even tightened because we have multiple hot wires here. That is one hot wire, this is two, and that's considered as three. It's pretty obvious that we have, these are all hot wires, power in, and these two are the power wires to the light fixture, these two. So we're gonna remove these, take out the box, put in a proper 3-gun box, and then redo all these pull wiring here for power wires. Now when you have these switches, because there isn't any slot you can press in to release the pushing wire, so you're gonna have to go back and forth and wiggle it out. It will work, but when you're doing this, you can tell the electrician, or I can't really tell if it was the apprentice. It looks like it was the apprentice. The work was done in a very shitty way. The wire would, when you pull it really hard, it would break, and you can tell that was where the guy stripped his insulation. So that was too much cut when using the wire stripper. So the question is, why is this using airtight electrical box? It does not make any sense, because if I step backwards, you can see, this is the exterior wall, that is the exterior wall, this is just a little lip This wall here, this wall goes that way. It's got spray foam insulation, which is vapor free barrier anyways, and plus here's a stud, there's a drywall all around it. I don't see any need of putting in this airtight box. So on the best way of fishing the traveler wires from your existing switch to the new switch is basically you go to you're gonna need to do this twice for the old location, new location anyways. So come here and you want to fish the wires through. Now this sectional wall has a bottom plate underneath right here, and you're gonna want to drill a hole about 1/2 inch on that bottom plate so you can feed your wires through. Now to locate where the bottom plate is, come down here, use a very small drill bit, and the longer the better. The longest one I have is 18-inch long. That's the one I use to poke around all the flooring and ceiling anyways. So go against this trim piece as close as you cut, drive the very small drill bit underneath, and you know, because it's so small, once you pull it out afterwards, nobody's even gonna see that tiny hole anyways. Drive it through, go to your basement, and you'll see that drill bit on the ceiling, and you'll know basically from here you're gonna go about that much, right? You know, I wouldn't even say like 1 inch is not enough. This is a 1/2 inch trim plus 1/2 inch drywall, so it is 1 inch from here to just reach the top bottom plate, and from there you have this is a 4 inch, so it's technically 3.5. So you have 1 inch of this trim and drywall material, and you have 3.5. So you're gonna want the hole end up right in the middle. So it's honestly 1.75 plus 1. So from the hole you want 2 inch and 3/4, and you want to use a drill bit at 1/2 inch size, so that you create a 1/2 inch hole at right on the bottom plate, and then you're gonna feed the wire from underneath all the way up, and you're gonna come here, take out the box, take out the cover, lose the screws. You need to take out the switch, lose the screws, take out the box so that you have room to work, and cut it to a 2 GAN box size so that you can put your hand in and feed the wire up. You'll be able to see somewhere here, or you know, just grab it and take it out. Now that you could do the switches right now, or you could do it later, it doesn't matter, or just make sure you have enough length of extra wires left out here. And then go to the basement, drill through the studs and all that stuff, and go to the next switch and repeat this fishing method. You know, just make sure you give it, because this is about 4 feet, so you want to give it like, you know, after you reach the bottom of the other switch, you want to give it like a 6 feet or so, and cut that extra length of wire, and then do the same thing, you know, adding another GAN space and feed it up and grab it and take it out. So that's basically the fishing method. Nothing tricky, it's just how to find the location by using the super tiny locating drill bit. So whoever did the electrical work in my house, shame on you. I was running through the wires, so I made a hole over there, and that vibration actually caused this receptacle to spark in front of me, and then that took down this HRV system, which took down the breaker, and I had to go reset the breaker because it tripped. So that tells me everything. So I found these edible 1 GAN electrical box at Canadian Tire for a really cheap price. So I basically cleared off the entire shelf, bought all of these, you know, what they have left. And it's also fairly easy to join these together, so I'm just gonna quickly talk about it. You want to lose the screw here, So you can take off this cover on one side, and then it's gonna be like this. And then you do the next one, and then you join them together. It's gonna be hard to see, but there. And then see the screw hole. Put the new screw in, tighten it up, do it on the bottom side, and there you go. You can do as many again as you want. On the last one though, you want to make sure one side have these little sharp edges so that you can hammer right into the wood and then put screws through the hole there. Now it is very common that a lot of time to add in the new switch, you're looking at exterior wall, which means 99% time you've got some fiberglass insulation behind this, and it's very fluffy, so it's basically occupying the entire wall with it. To try to fish a wire through that fiberglass insulation, there's ways of doing it, but you're just gonna end up with spending a lot of time, and I wouldn't recommend. So I'm just gonna show you how to quickly do the fishing through the exterior wall. So this is a great tool of cutting drywall. I basically used it to cut an opening here just to see how it is. Eventually I'll cut down all the way down so that it's easier for me to run wires. I'll just drill a hole here and patch a drywall later, you know. Of course, gonna go ahead cutting from here all the way down so that we could gain access to the inside. So when you run wire through the insulation, you should cut it open halfway, put the wire, tuck the wire inside, and then close the insulation outside. So we put duct tape on all these cut we made, and then we're gonna put the drywall back on. So we cut a piece of 1x4 and nailed it on the sidewall there so that the drywall board is gonna have somewhere to sit on. We're just gonna go ahead and start mounting on the drywall pieces. So that's how it looks like after we put all the drywall back on. The next step is gonna be patching. So I just grab a knife, make sure, because I'm using the stamp off knife, make sure you stamp off so that you have really sharp tip. And then I cut a V-notch. You know that for really wide, really deep gap like this, you're gonna have to come back and fill it up again because it's gonna crack anyways. So no pressure on that. If you want to push the stuff in, then you should do this so that you're pushing in the filler really deep, and then you go on the top again. So we've got a sand block kit with different grade here. I found this one not too much useful really. I normally achieve the job with these two. So we're gonna, let me see which one's rougher. This is a rougher one. We're gonna take this one, come here. You know, it's cracked here, which is expected. We're gonna take off all the excessive fillers first, and then we're gonna put in some fillers at lower spots later. So one thing I want to mention is I'm doing this live, so when you do this, be careful, don't put in any putty knife or screwdriver inside so that it doesn't shock you. So after you finish sanding, you want to take a towel, just clean up the surface, because sometimes it'll look flat, smooth, but then it's just powder on there. Once you touch it, the powder falls off. Okay, so it seems like the second coating has dried out. We're gonna hit it with the finest sanding block before we put any painting on there. Now that we finished sanding off the final coating, I normally take a damp towel, just quickly wipe through. You can see the difference. It's wipes away all these extras on the side, makes the patching area smaller, and also makes the surface smoother. I was never happy with the repairs done by rollers. You can always tell the color difference from very far away. You do want to invest a really good pair of brush. I bought this from Home Depot and it's the most expensive one, and I've been using the same one for years, as you can see. But it works really well, way better than roller. So we don't have a lot to patch on, and I'm lazy. I don't want to wash the painting tray later. So all I do is I've got fairly decent amount of painting left in the bucket. So I just tilt it like that way, and then because I have a white neck opening here, I'm gonna dip the painting in there, scrape off the extras on the opening on the edge, and then go on there. So you want to make sure your paintbrush is fairly dry so that you can apply a really thin layer of coating on here. You know, if you're not confident with controlling the brush, you could always tape up the edge. So like that, and after it dries, you'll see a way better result than using a roller. You know, you gotta make sure your paintbrush is always really dry so that you can see it's, you know, you brush on these painting really hard. And then, you know, going up, you'll see strips, but if you go down like that, you don't see a lot of strips.